guys, I'm Eric from Rocky Mountain ATV MC.com, and here we are with our 2017 CRF450RX bike build. And you know, if you guys have been kind of watching the series, we did a walk around. I kind of did a brief intro of what I'd like to do after a first riding impression. And I've spent quite a bit of time on this bike this spring, and there's some things that I really like about this bike, but there's also some things that I can do to make it fit me better. Possibly later on in the year, we're going to turn this into more of a mountain single track type bike, but for now, this is Works, the Works series out here west, and Hare and Hounds. And man, Honda gave us an awesome platform to work with here, and I've really been enjoying this bike. But some of the things to make it a little bit more comfortable for me, you know, let's start with the rider interface, right? That's important to me. I've got to feel comfortable on the bike, and there's some things I'm just used to and I like. One of them is the handlebars. I like the bend. I like the 1 1/8 bar, the big bar. Believe it or not, the Hondas still come with a 7/8 bar. And so to make this fit, of course, we had to do the Tusk universal big bar clamps so we can get it on here. While we're at it, we changed and we threw some black Tusk levers on it. I think it makes it look good. Something else I really like, and I have to have on my bikes, are wraparound handguards. And this is the D-Flex Pro from Tusk. It's the latest one they've got. Plenty of room for your hands and levers. Nice big shield to keep your hands safe and sound, but really liking these things. And then also the steering stabilizer. So it's kind of cool because Honda left the actual mount. Now this bike doesn't come with the steering stabilizers, but the years previous, the last couple of years, they've actually sold a steering stabilizer stock on their bikes. And so we went with the 24 millimeter. They have a 20 and a 24. They recommend the 24 for off-road. It's a little bit more dampening, but it doesn't really bother you. It doesn't get in your way when you're out riding, but it definitely takes care of the head shake. It's a beautiful compromise, I think is what you would call that. But that pretty much takes care of the rider interface up here. But moving on down, you know, we've got the Tusk Billet foot pegs. Keep your feet on the pegs. And then we've been messing around with these Stegs mounts. These Stegs pegs is what they're called. And I've seen these around for a couple of years, and I've kind of been mildly curious, but never that curious. Well, I am really liking these things. What they do is, you know, you put your foot on there and it locks kind of the back of your boot. And so you can stay standing up, staying aggressive, and give your hands kind of a break, give your arms a break. And I'm really liking them. I'm still messing around with where I like them to be, you know, moving them forward and moving them back. But so far, they're great. So the next thing I want to work on is the motor. First video, again, I'll reference that one again. I talked about it being too violent and the on-off throttle was a little bit much at times, and I was struggling with stalling it. So I got the Honda fuel injection. It's a PDM FI mapping tool. It's pretty easy to use. You can go in there, you plug it in and you change all the settings. And I was able to take some of that on-off crack out of it and make it a little easier to ride right there at that transition. But I was able to make it so I didn't really lose anything overall. It's still wicked fast. So it's not like, I mean, I could have lost a ton of power and still had plenty. But we also put the Fmf Exhaust on this that has a spark arrestor, so we're legal out here in the desert. But other than that, the motor, you know, I do like the twin air filters, and so I'm running those. But other than that, pretty much stock on the motor. Something else performance related, plus it looks good, the primary drive sprocket and chain. We got the aluminum sprocket on the rear and the gold X-ring chain, super durable. And something else to go along with the chain is I was able to rip the stock chain guide off, and so we upgraded to the TM Designs chain guide, and that thing, you know, as we all know, is pretty bulletproof. Along with that, protection-wise, we've got the Works Connection skid plate on here. It's their new series that's rubber mounted, so it gets some of the sound out of it a little bit, and it also allows it to move a little bit. You know, the manufacturers want that frame to flex a little bit. You know, even though that scares you a little bit probably, but you want that thing to flex a little bit. And then, you know, moving on to aesthetics. Obviously, I've got, you know, Attack Graphics hooked us up with, you know, our shroud graphics and our number plate backgrounds. little things like, well, it's actually a big thing. The Tusk impact wheels, they're solid. They look great. Put mooses in this, so I'm running Michelin bib moose, front and rear. I had a flat at one of the earlier races, and I'm done with flats. I guess I'm too old to want to deal with that anymore. So we put mooses in front and rear. Threw them on the Bridgestone X30s. They're solid tire, very predictable. I really like this combination. And then, you know, just other little couple bling things here and there. You know, we got some rim lock nuts, and, you know, there's an engine plug over here, and, you know, a brake rotating clamp. But mostly this bike is really good, but you can make it suit it for you, you know, so it's exactly what you want. And you can get all these parts. You can get them at RockyMountainATVMC.com. Make sure and go there, check out everything we've got for your bike, and we'll catch you next time.